Here with Coach Roanhouse of the Clovis Wildcats, and you finished two-a-days, starting school. I'm sure this week or last week, or it's coming up now. And if you could just talk about two-a-days and kind of how your players are progressing, and a little bit about the senior group, I think that'd be a good place to start off with.
Well, we're progressing okay. We started school last Thursday, to be a fact, on the 12th, and our coaches were in meeting the first few days, so we had late two-a-day practices Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but we did get some two-a-days in, get off the field about 8 every night, and had a one-a-day on Saturday, and we're making some progress. This time of year, progress is really slow, and particularly in shorts. And now we've had 3 days of pad workouts. We're making the progress we need to make. The kids' attitude is great. They're working hard. We just got to get ready for the scrimmage this week. We're going to scrimmage Las Cruces, who I know has several kids back from their last year's squad. So, we'll use that as a barometer to measure where we're at right at this time.
If you could talk about some key returners, we'll start with the offensive side, some players that are rising seniors that are going to be expected to play, starting positions this coming season. That would certainly help out.
Okay, we got one of our starting quarterbacks back. We rotated quarterbacks last year. Jordan Hill, he rotated quarterback last year and played free safety, and he's back at the quarterback position. We got all three of our running backs back that were juniors last year, Karan Wiggins and Juan Rivas and Raymond Beecham, and they're all back. Then we got a kid, Michael Johnson, who was our flanker last year that kind of split duty at flanker. He's back. And two offensive linemen, Carlos Garza at center and Chris Sharp at tackle. We've got to replace 3 linemen, and our biggest thing to replace offensively is our tight end, Richie Chavez. Was an all-state player last year, and we've got to find a tight end. We've got to find someone to fill that spot. Certainly they're not going to be as big and strong as Richie is, but they got to be able to handle position, and that's the biggest question mark we have on offense.
Jordan Hill taking that quarterback spot, being that he's a little bit more athletic, obviously, than the past couple quarterbacks that you have, how much is that going to benefit you guys going into the 2010 season?
Well, we're going to be able to run some things offensively with him. He's a good runner. He's 4.5, 4.6 runner and runs the ball well, and he's a good passer. I was really happy with him this summer. We went 7-on-7. He had 1 interception in 8 games, 7-on-7, and I was real happy with that. And so he can run the football along with our running backs, and then, of course, he can throw the football when we need him to. So he's going to be a big part of our offense.
Switching to the defensive side, I know you lost some defensive players, and you talked about Richie Chavez on the offensive side. Defensive side, he was one of the top defensive linemen I've seen over the past couple of years, and replacing him obviously would be tough. Noticed, I think it was Fred Kelly out there who looks to, maybe he was the backup to Richie last year, I'm not too sure, but if you could talk about some of those type of players and some players that are going to be varsity players come Friday night on the defensive side.
On defense, we lose, Emery Sierra, our linebacker, and Richie Chavez, our 5 technique, and Matt Southerland. Those were probably the 3 biggest losses we have defensively. We returned Trey Orozco in the secondary. Of course, Jordan Hill also returns in the secondary, so we get 2 key kids there. Kevin Armstrong returns at our other linebacker position, and Amando Lopez returns at an end. So we've got an end and 2 tackles and a nose, and Fred Kelly played some last year, and we got Kenny Betts up from our JV team and Cope up from our JV team. So we got some people to fill in. We just don't know how they're going to respond in a varsity situation. There's a big difference in playing varsity football and playing JV and sophomore football. I tell the kids JV and sophomore football is like driving on the road between here and Melrose. Varsity football is like driving in 5 o'clock traffic in Albuquerque. It's things happen quicker and faster, and they just got to get used to it.
Is there any one particular player that might emerge just from the offensive or defensive side? Maybe it's a Michael Johnson, or maybe it's a Trey Orozco. Do you see any of those players maybe emerging to a big-time player as we progress during the season?
Well, Trey was a sophomore last year and started at corner for us, and he's going to be a safety this year. And I look for him to have a good year. He's a great kid. And Michael Johnson could have a good year on. He's right now is our leading receiver on offense. But some of the kids that really get a step forward are the ones that are up from our JV sophomore team that we're carrying. We got a relatively small senior class this year. We got 22 seniors and 13 juniors on the varsity. Usually we have 28 to 30 seniors. So we got a small senior class. So it's going to force some of those juniors into starting roles. And with the competitive schedule that we have, the sooner they step up, the better off we'll be.
Talking about the new district landscapes in Class 5A, I've been around and it looks like there's some competitive football. You lose Gallup in the Albuquerque West Side District and you add Volcano Vista. Volcano Vista has a ton of players. You have the Albuquerque now Power District with Manzano, Sandia, and then you have District 3 5A always stacked, your guys' district, and then the Rio Grande Valley District. How do you see 5A just as a whole? Do you feel it's going to be better football? And maybe kind of highlight your thoughts there.
Well, I think there might be a little more parity this year. I think La Cueva with the Daniels kid has got to be the front runner right now. But, Mayfield's going to be there at the end of the year, and Cruces is going to be there. And, you have surprises now and then. I thought Oñate out of that one district was a big surprise last year, and I don't know what with it putting all those good teams in one district in Albuquerque, La Cueva, and El Dorado, Manzano, and Sandia. But they're 4 quality football programs that are in the same district. It's just very fortunate for them that we have the seeding and selection. We're not taking a district champion and runner-up because 2 of the good teams would have to sit out. And then, of course, out there on that west side, you got Volcano Vista and Rio Rancho and Cleveland, and we pay both Cleveland and Rio Rancho who have quality programs. So there's a new face, as you say, in 5A this year, and I think that's going to make for more parity. And I think other than maybe La Cueva, which is a little bit ahead of everybody, anybody can beat anybody on Friday night.
Talking about your schedule, you start off with Las Cruces in the scrimmage, who's going to obviously give you guys a great measuring stick to where you guys are at. Then you guys got Alamogordo, and then kind of from there on out, it's just, no rest. It's just kind of back-to-back big games. If you could talk about your 2010 season schedule.
Well, we're going to scrimmage Cruces. We've scrimmaged Cruces since 1994. So, we've going on 16, 17 years scrimmaging Las Cruces High. And there's times there they were better than they are now, and times we were better than we are now. I know their 99 and 2000 teams were very good. One of them won a state championship. So they've got a team that's got a few kids back from last year. We got a team that's got a few kids back from last year. Both of us ended the season last year on disappointing losses, us to Mayfield, them to Sandia. So, it'll be a good measuring stick for both of us. I'm sure it'll be a very competitive scrimmage. Then the week after, they get to play that El Paso El Dorado team that's loaded, and then we play Alamo. And we've got a pretty competitive schedule. We play Alamo, and then we go to Albuquerque to play El Dorado at 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and then on a short week, we come back here and play La Cueva, and we go to play Cleveland the next week and come back and play Rio Rancho. And then we got Goddard and Artesia back-to-back. 2 of the top 4A teams in the state. Goddard's a 2-time defending state champion. And then right in there between, after Artesia, we got Manzano, who was a semifinalist last year, and then we open district with Hobbs the next week. So we replace Manzano and Cleveland are on our schedule instead of Highland and Cibola. And, I've got to think that upgraded our schedule a little bit. Those 2 are a little bit tougher than the other 2 right now. Lastly,
you're sitting at 299 career wins. It's an interesting storyline, from our perspective going into the season. Is it something that you think about? It's definitely a big time milestone in New Mexico high school football. Do you think about it kind of going into the season? Is it just something else, along the way? How do you go about, that 300th victory? Do you even think about it at all?
Well, not a whole lot. Once in a while my coaches bring it up or someone will bring it up. Had an ex-coach call me last night. It's coming for our first game. Mm-hmm. So they bring it up. But it's not a big deal. That's not something when you start out coaching you think about. So, I'm going to stay in this coaching business 40 years until I get 300 wins. You just don't think about it. It's just something that happened along the way while I was, having fun working with the kids and with my coaches. And, I just assume we get it done and get it out of the way so we can focus on some other things at hand. One of my coaches told me the other day, he says, boy, don't you wish you hadn't played all those Texas schools in the early part of your career? I said, no, those things made us better at that time. Playing those tough Texas teams in the 80s really made our football team a lot better. Mm-hmm. We won 5 in a row playing those tough Texas teams. So it's good to have played those people, and it's good to be where we're at now, but I don't focus